Hello guys, today we're joined by two Earth-2 moderators, Eugene and GlasgowMG. I just want to state before we start that these views and opinions are that of themselves, they're not those of Earth-2. The mods aren't paid by Earth-2 and they get the same information from Discord and social platforms as us, the players. The information in this will be based on what they've seen from there. So guys, do you want to do a quick introduction of yourselves before we start?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
I'll start. Okay, so I'm Eugene. Boondock is, my metaverse surname. Wait, what should I? What
How-
do you want to know about me mostly?
How you kind of first discovered Earth-2, a little bit of your backstory so far, what's been going on?
Oh, okay. I discovered it too. It was December 29, 2020, basically. Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah.
So like Facebook gave me something good once. So yeah, I found it on Facebook and then pressed the links. I love the idea of Ready Player One. That's the part that captured me mostly.
Yeah,
And I just jumped in.
the parallel between the two. And what about yourself, Glasgow? Get off your phone, you cheeky man.
I'm quickly searching up when I first bought my property
Okay, fair enough.
because I forget actually when I joined. I apologize.
That's okay. So
I'm trying to
Eugene,
flip through
while
my
Glasgow finds
5,000.
that, what have you been doing with Earth-2 so far? Like, what has kind of been your tactics along the way?
Okay, so I try to be an all-round player, like if you check like my portfolio, it's mostly I buy properties, it's jewels, it's crafting, taught myself the whole building editor. So I try to do everything.
Cover everything.
Obviously when you're trying to be a jack of all trades, like you won't always be like perfect. So like there are hollow building builders who are like really good. I feel like I'm in the middle, but yeah,
I've
I try
seen
to
some of
do
your work.
everything.
It is good. It's impressive what you do. Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
What about yourself, Glasgow? Do you want to give us a little bit of your background?
Yeah, sure. I'd say I joined Earth-2 in I'd say December of 2022.
Okay.
If not, it was January 2021.
Yeah.
It was kind of New Year's when I first bought my first property. And
Is
the
that year's
funny
not the
thing
wrong way
is
around?
What's that?
You're not mean December 21 or Jan 22 because you said it the other way around.
Whatever the first 2 months of Earth, I get mixed up in years so easy. But you can get my point. But I actually joined Earth-2 as a joke.
Okay.
At first, because I never looked into it. I saw like one TikTok. I was part of the TikTok hype, and I bought this property spelling out 69,420 on the property, and like 2 or 3 weeks later, the price went from like $12 to $40.
Okay.
On market value. So I knew I had to look into it, and that's why I found Nathaniel as a developer. He's no longer here, but at that point it was pretty good. Getting to know the devs as like a past history of what their career was. I got really excited for it, and that's when I decided to hop into the Facebook community, and then I soon joined Discord for that.
What's been your Earth-2 tactics from that point going forward then? Have you kind of had a broad spectrum of stuff you've touched up on as well, or have you concentrated in any areas?
For me, I didn't really focus much on classes because I knew tier 1 tiles was good in the beginning, because I'm that type of guy where I just like land that's cheap.
Yeah.
So I just went for anything new at the beginning since it was cheap, and then once marketplace started to level out, I started to purchase on the marketplace. But I got addicted to buying tiles. I dumped like $5,000 in
Jesus,
in less than a year into this.
Was that money you could
And
afford to lose though?
Yes.
Good.
This was before I purchased my house and just after I built my computer. So I just had money stored up that I didn't know what to do with. So it was kind of just a perfect time slot of me having money, finding Earth-2, and getting excited for it.
Yeah, so you guys at home, don't go dumping $5,000 or anywhere near that in Earth-2. Only spend what you can afford to lose. I like to think of it as a game. something that you're not going to get your money back from, like a traditional kind of game. If we do, it's a bonus, but only spend the sort of money that you would put in a traditional game. Don't be a little bit crazy like what Glasgow is doing, because that is extreme.
I took the risk and I was fully prepared to lose it all.
Yeah.
Well, I was lucky enough that I was able to recoup that and keep my profile, and I'm still active in the community and everything, and I love it.
Fantastic. So are you actually on a free ride now?
Yes.
Brilliant. What about you, Eugene? Are you on a free ride as well?
Okay, so for me, what I didn't have like 5K just sitting on the side, but like usually what I did was I was like, let's say I sell like some of the assets in L2. I was not withdrawing in a sense, I was reinvesting. It's like if you check my portfolio, it says that I've put around it's almost 6K, but that's not like in one go. It's more like, more like in reinvesting in parts and all that. In terms of me riding free at the moment, I would say not really. Like I rarely withdraw that thing. Like I withdraw here and there, but like I think I treated it to the same way you would treat like the game of Monopoly.
Yes.
More like my mindset was it's fake money, even though I knew that I could withdraw it, but then it was more like focus on the strategies, grow your portfolio. Like if you've seen on my Twitter account, I've been posting like my goal is like 50K tiles. At the moment, I'm almost at 34K.
Brilliant.
So it's more like that money I keep on reinvesting it more and more. But I feel like recently I've been withdrawing a bit. So, but then I don't want that to slow down my progress of growing my portfolio. But yeah,
just trying to find the balance between the two. Right. So let's move on to the core bit. How did you two first get involved with moderation, F2 moderation? Glasgow, do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, sure. So I was real active in the community at the time whenever the mod applications started to come up in the server, and I was real good friends with one of the community managers, but that didn't really affect it because I still had to go through the application. But I guess I was noted as a commonly active member of the community.
That makes sense.
So whenever they were going through the list, I was noted to be added, but that probably was noted for any of the other users, because that was a requirement already. Looking to be a mod as you were active in the community, you knew the know-how of the community. So it was just real nice to have the opportunity to join. But I joined like how at that time most of the other mods joined was through that application. If it wasn't for that application, I probably wouldn't be mod.
Okay, yeah. So was that just something that posted on the socials asking who wanted to be a mod, or?
Yeah, they posted that in the server announcements and on their official Facebook, and I think it was just their Discord and Facebook. I'm not 100% sure, but it was something that was officially put out from the community managers at that time.
Okay, that's good. What about yourself, Eugene?
Okay, so I feel like I was lucky because the second announcement hit on Discord, I was online. Like Thomas made a joke like during the interview that I was the first, like literally, like you say that my application literally came in like a few minutes after the announcement had gone live. So at that time I was mostly active on Facebook. Like Discord was a bit intimidating for me. So I applied to be a Facebook moderator, but then as time went on, I got like my hang around Discord, knowing how to operate around Discord, creating servers and all that. And then that's when I, contacted Diz, like basically for a promotion, like to be a Discord moderator too. So yeah, so firstly I was a Facebook moderator, and then now I'm like an all-round moderator kind of thing.
Oh, so you do multiple platforms at once?
Yeah, Discord, Facebook. It's not really a hassle. It's a matter of opening a tab, opening an application. But yeah, it's Facebook and Discord.
That's fair enough.
And also Reddit. But Reddit, it's mostly, it's not that active as Discord and Facebook.
I always just thought there was set mods for each one. I didn't realize some of you did more than one platform. That's kind of cool, though. Makes sense. Yeah. Right. So what is it actually like being a mod? like, is it stressful, or is it just an excuse for you guys to kind of nerd out on E2 more than the average player?
To be a Earth 2 mod, it's I'd say right now it's not hard.
Okay.
But at the beginning, the hardest part was actually dealing with the bots.
Oh,
'Cause
okay. Yeah.
yeah, because if someone was in the Discord server for a while, they'll know that the invite method has changed a little bit, because there was a couple spam bot attacks that just, it happens to Discord servers. It's not an uncommon thing, but that was the hardest to deal with because you had to sift through the join history. Like I'd rather deal with someone that's breaking the server rules any other day than having a bot attack on the weekly.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, in all the time I've been on the Discord server, I can't recall seeing any bot attacks, so that must have been before my time, I think.
Yeah, because we were basically dealing with it before they showed up in chat.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
I believe it was Chris, um he paid attention the most to that, because whenever he'd see anything suspicious in the join log, he'd message it in our chat.
Okay.
And just as a warning, so then we'd go through, and then once one spam message popped up, usually it's by one group.
Yeah.
So all the usernames have like a thing in common where it's like this spammy name and just a lot of letters. So it was pretty easy just to identify them. It was just hard to get them taken care of.
I'm glad that's settled down. What about
Yeah.
yourself, Eugene? What's been your experience?
I would say it's the best of both worlds, you know, stressful and also like the nerdy part. Okay, so like for me, it depends with the platform that I'm on. Facebook, the first days it was a bit hectic, you know, in terms of you'd get like people who just joined the group to, I would say basically to cause trouble in the group, like not keep the peace in a sense. But then recently, Facebook is no longer that. It's more like bots, but it's like fake blog pages. Like so, like if you let them join your group, and like a Facebook group, they'll then spam like irrelevant videos. So but those ones they're easy to spot. The page doesn't have a profile picture. It's just a very English name, and then that's it, like no profile picture or anything. And then Reddit is much more, it's complex, I would say. There are very interesting characters there.
Yes.
But then it's a matter of knowing what to tolerate and what not to. And also, like, you know, there's you manage it as like, you know, as group of moderators. It's like before any decision is taken, there's discussions that go on. And then on Discord, it's like as Glasgow said, like there's a lot of, there was an issue of bots, but then recently not much. In terms of having like characters that disrupt the piece, I feel like that isn't much like stressful, especially when you have like, you know, you're working as a team.
Yeah.
Like if other people, like before anything is done, you know, there's more like conversations that take place. So it's not really a one-man job. Therefore, it's less stressful. It's more like we share the weight as a team. Yeah.
So you guys have got kind of chats going on in the background of where you're talking about the regular users and what's going on. So you're kind of handed over what's happened on earlier in the day, and you're aware of what's being said and stuff. That makes sense. That hadn't even crossed my mind that you might be talking about stuff in the background. To be honest, it's kind of obvious now that you see it. But yeah, I hadn't thought about that aspect.
Yeah, most of the time it's just us chatting about Earth 2. There's very rarely we really need to actually like mention about a situation, because it's taken care of easily. I'm not going to go much into it since it's also a privacy to conversation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's just there for us to simply just note down stuff about what has happened, or if like a mod needs to go offline and the situation wasn't resolved, he's able to get someone else to handle it. Simple stuff like that, just the redundancy thing, really. Nothing really major in that stuff.
No, it makes complete sense to have it, to be honest. Yeah, I think you should probably be a little bit lost without it. But moving on from that, we're going to go on to question 3. How has the role changed over the last 2 years or from when you first became mods? I think you have kind of briefly covered that, but is there anything you would like to add to it?
Yeah, because at the start, excuse me, at the start, I was personally new to it. I've never been like a moderator for like a group of people before, or posts or anything like that. So I had to start out just basically from just from zero.
Yeah.
And from then until now, I'm actually completely able to know what a situation needs to be how a situation needs to be handled immediately, instead of having to look over it for a good several minutes just to make sure what I'm doing is all right.
You've kind of learned the role more. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten more professional in the social aspect of it.
That's always a bonus. What about you, Eugene? Have things changed for you?
I agree with Glasgow on that part. It's not really the role changing. It's more like the members of the people who have those roles. So you can see I would say the maturity in terms of like gaining experience on how to handle certain situations. It's no longer, there's no more, I would say like we can handle situations much better, like on the social aspect of it. So it's not really the role changing. It's more like, us as the members of those roles, like gaining experience and knowing how to tackle certain situations.
Maturing as moderators. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. That's pretty good. Right. What is the best and worst things about being moderators? Eugene, do you want to go first on this one?
Best and worst thing. Okay, so I would say, when you're dealing with certain characters, and in a sense, sometimes you tend to touch a nerve, like when you address someone in a situation. So it's either you get a lot of, you get disliked in some sense by some characters, not everyone, obviously. But then the best thing, I feel like it's you have a chance to interact with multiple people, like from different backgrounds, because you're like you're at a certain level like of authority, if I would say that. So you get to interact with multiple characters, so you get to know people, cultures, like basically even have like trivial discussions about who they are. So like I feel like that's like the interesting part of it. You get exposed to the human experience,
I like that. It's very well put. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And what about you, Glasgow? Do you have a different take on that?
I'm kind of similar. I'll start with the worst part. Worst part is just trying to gauge a situation, really.
Yeah.
It's not really dealing with the situation, because dealing with the situation follows an actual strict path of what we need to do to properly handle it. It's just in order to gauge that situation, you can't just look at what's being said at that moment. You have to go maybe like 10 minutes back when the conversation started, and you got to read through 10 minutes of just gen chat for a while, and it takes a bit longer than that actual time lapse. So I'd say that was the worst part, but the best part, I've met so many people like Eugene. I've never had a friend across the world before. I was always friends with the local city and stuff like that. And now I'm friends with people in Australia, the UK, and everywhere else. It's great just to know that there's more than just people in the state or country that you live in. And it's really nice to communicate with those people too.
Yeah, that's really good as well. It's kind of touching thing. Yeah, I think kind of a lot of us have had our horizons expanded since we've joined F2. We've kind of learned about people and cultures that we wouldn't normally see, not even just from the players, but from the kind of doing research even in our lands and stuff as well. So it's kind of broadened a lot of people's horizons. But touching up on that, are you guys players as well as mods? Do you get involved in that side of stuff as well, or has that kind of fizzled out as you became involved in the moderation side?
On my part, I would say like okay, obviously I'm a mod, but then I'm also like heavily a player. Like in terms of if you say like the claiming, like the claims, that I've been mostly involved like majority of the time, and then the building. Like if I was mostly focused on moderation, I wouldn't have like taught myself how to build.
Yeah,
You
that's a
know,
good point.
growing my portfolio. So like yeah, I'm a player and also a moderator, but I enjoy the playing part of it. It's interesting.
Play first. Glasgow,
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same because when I'm talking in chat or on Earth 2, I'm mostly there to just talk about Earth 2 and stuff. And if I need to step in to diffuse a situation, I can.
Yeah.
But I'm just a person volunteering to be a moderator. I don't expect to get anything out of it, and I just enjoy helping the community out anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm just there to be a normal user, talk in chat, and just enjoy conversations about Earth 2.
So what are your long-term goals and plans for your portfolios? Do you have anything that you kind of want to go more into as the project progresses?
Okay, before I answer that question, I wanted to go back to the moderation one. I feel like it would be difficult for you to be a moderator, especially like on Earth 2, without knowing like the functionalities. Because
Yes.
like there are moments where you need to help a user. Let's say they're struggling with a certain issue. So if you're not really a player, it's really difficult for you to then intervene and then like assist them in especially when it's like a new user.
Yeah.
So you cannot really be like only a moderator without being a player. So that's
That
the
makes
thing.
sense. Yeah.
And then on the second question, the future goals. Uh, I would say I'll focus on my future goals like from the get. Like in terms of the first properties that I bought on Earth 2, I didn't buy them because for the profit and all that. It was mostly like how would this location look in phase 3?
Yeah.
Like if you look at the majority of my properties that I bought early on, it's like on the beach. So like it's more like I was planning for phase 3 and also building cities, towns. Yeah, like it will also depend with the direction that F2 takes. Like building cities and having like people interacting or even civilians, the NPCs and stuff. But to be interesting. But then my future goal is to just build.
Yeah.
If that means cities, towns, then yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait until we get the tools to build, even just little, even if it's the 2D stuff that Shane's been talking about on Twitter recently, just to have some actual new stuff in our land will be amazing and see how that evolves over time. Glasgow, do you want to touch on that as well?
Yeah. I'm really needing to get more into the hollow building myself.
Okay.
I haven't really touched much into it. I've purchased hollow buildings off of Eugene and other players off the bazaar. And I'm actually recently I'm trying to learn Blender, and I'm just hoping I'm able to build my own hollow buildings because I'd like to try and build the stuff that I'm placing down instead of trying just to purchase everything. Try to keep it to me and not I'm just outsourcing everything. My how can I say this? My goal when I was building my portfolio was also like phase 3 stuff because that's what got me into Earth 2.
Yeah, same.
I purchased land all over the place, just with different terrain regions, just so I'm kind of like I got a good shuffle of stuff in my portfolio. And then after I kind of sifted through a lot of terrain, I just decided to stick to a few countries just for price reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I built my Shun City as well, based on price. You've got to kind of go for that, haven't you? Unless you've got buckets full of cash. Yeah. Right, we're going to move on because I've just kind of realised the time, so I'm going to try and get through these questions a bit quicker. If you guys, Eugene, you first on this one. If you guys could give just one bit of advice to new Earth 2 players, what would that be?
Learn everything. Like that's my advice. Try to be an all-round player because at the moment we're not really sure what's going to be the benefiting factor like in the future. So like if it means getting involved with EPLs, hollow building, jewels, I know property mostly like the cheap ones like T2. So by to this is not financial advice, by the way, but like try to get involved
Cover all your bases.
in everything. Yes, as cover. Yeah, I feel like if you it would be regrettable if you try to focus like on one thing and then you become a master of it, but then in the future it's not as beneficial to you as a user. So try to be a jack of all trades. And then if out of all those things that you're doing, let's say one is like more appealing to you, let's say the hollow building editor, perfect that part of it, but then you know that okay, I have at least been involved in everything that that is an F2.
Yeah, I like that. Well said. Glasgow, yourself, your one bit of advice?
My piece of advice would be money's not everything. People say that money's required to go into Earth 2, and it's not. Even at this point, it's not really, because I've seen people sharing on Facebook that they've taken on a challenge where they make an Earth 2 account and their challenge is to not put money in. And I've seen, I've seen personally accounts over a couple $100 in value. And they say they've only started out with referral code stuff. Doing the once they do that, they get jewels and they just sell those for a couple cents per jewel, and they're able to build their portfolio. So really, money's not an issue in Earth 2. You shouldn't really expect to spend money. Just make sure to enjoy what you're doing. Don't make it a burden on yourself.
Very well put. Yeah, I think kind of anybody who is coming into Earth 2 just for the money side of things, I think that kind of initial spike has kind of gone. So guys, just come in for the gameplay. If you're enjoying it, it's all good, and only just kind of treat it as a normal game as you would and see what happens from there. It's definitely not going to be something where we're going to be like gold mining. Well, we might be, but not in that sense. Right. So next, moving on to how did you guys feel when Earth 2 announced that the mods were going to get an essence bonus along with the staff?
Okay, I'll start. Okay, like firstly, when like when we joined as moderators, there was always a disclaimer like this is a voluntary role.
Yeah.
So for me, it was more like a surprise. But then like when Shane mentioned that, this is like him giving back, like for what we've done. But at first, when I saw it in the draft, it was more like a surprise. Like it really hit me in the face. But then I understood the reason why Shane did it. Like he saw it, like we've been doing this for quite a while, and there was no compensation. And not saying we expected it, because we knew what we're getting ourselves into, like when we did the interviews. But like for me, it was a surprise mostly. Yeah.
Nice to feel appreciated. I'm surprised that you first find out from the draft. Was nothing mentioned at all before the draft?
No, we didn't know about like whether we're going to get essence or anything. It was from the draft.
That must have been a lovely surprise reading that then. Yeah. And Glasgow, how about yourself? How did you take it?
Was really a surprise as well. And like Eugene said, we get nothing in advance from any other user. So when it dropped, my phone was actually blowing up from other mods and other users pinging us to say like, hey, congratulations on the essence. And I'm just like ignoring it, just trying to read it. And once I read it, I got surprised. I looked at all my notifications. I got like 24 notifications. I'm like, holy crap. So, but at the beginning, just like Eugene said, it's a voluntary role. I'm continuing to enjoy it being a voluntary role. So I'm happy with any little bit that Shane will give us. And if for some reason that draft paper changes a little bit, I'm not going to be too worried about it. I'm happy just to be here for the community.
I like that. To be honest, I think it was a lovely gesture, and I think it is well deserved by the mods. I mean, kind of doing this in your own time, and as you see it, like it's not a paid role or anything, so it is a nice way to kind of show his appreciation for what's being done over while F2's been getting built, because they can't always be super active, but you guys can. Right, this is another one I ask a lot of people. If you guys could add one new feature to Earth 2 instantly right now, what would it be and why? Kind of try and keep these a bit brief because we've literally got 8 minutes left to get through the questions. Eugene, do you want to start this one?
Messaging, like players being able to message each other, because I've seen a lot of players struggling to contact other players. Like some would just change the name of the property to contact a player who's sending a bid. So I think if it would be like an instant thing, like messaging, and maybe a forum whereby like players can interact and talk to each other like as a group. Yeah,
I like that. That's a good shout. It would certainly be very handy.
yeah.
Glasgow.
Definitely.
Eugene's answer was definitely my number one, but what I would say for number two is what people are currently asking for right now, and that's folders in on our profiles.
Yeah.
It'll be really nice to sort my over 400 properties.
Okay.
But other than that, those are the two things I would add.
To be fair, once we get tile merging, that might be a lot less of an issue, because I know hundreds of mine are going to be shrunk into one. I mean, I would still like it because I'd like to have all of my Shooting City tiles put into one place and stuff like that. Definitely be handy. Yeah. Right. Do you guys have any funny moderation stories that you're willing to share? Obviously, keep it PG because this is going on YouTube. But is there any good stories you can tell?
Oh, or it'll say PG. So currently, the funniest thing I got is we actually have a term in that we use, and it's called doing a Glasgow. Because for an example, this one time, me and a couple of users were joking around in chat, and someone made the joke to ban everyone. So I'm like, I'm just gonna throw the joke of doing the ban command and using the word everyone. So I didn't think it was going to go through, but Dino takes that word and finds the user it's closest resembling it, and it banned them. Yeah, so I actually banned someone, and the history of that's still in chat, so I'm good to talk about it. But I immediately, when that happened, I put a like a oh crap message, and then Liz immediately popped in with the face palm emoji. I'm just like, oh no, not. So I left chat to go deal with that. Players unbanned, everything's good. But just simple stuff like that kind of earned the term doing a Glasgow.
Yeah.
So we've actually promptly used that in our chat before to explain situations.
I might have to steal that saying as well. I quite like that. That's a good story. It's not as bad as what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say at everyone does actually ban everyone at first.
Oh no,
I thought that's where the story was going.
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't use ad, and I don't want to try that, but it probably won't do anything. But yeah, it was only one person, so luckily it was all right, and the person understood it.
That was still quite entertaining. What about yourself, Eugene? Do you have any simple stories?
For me, it's actually like a similar story. I've done that before too. But for me, I forgot if I did the everyone part, but then I did the same thing, and I literally, I think if it was not a ban, it was a mute. And then I literally ran to like the log to look for the user and try to bring them in and all those things. But so basically, some of us moderators have done a Glasgow here and there, even though Glasgow was the first one to do it. So
it coined the term, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about maturing as moderators. He's it's a new tool that he's learning, and kind of the longer you do it, the more you'll know about it. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So how do you, in terms of staff positions at F2 or anything, is that something either of you guys would want to pursue in the future? Would you like to evolve kind of into paid staff members, or are you guys happy staying players and moderators? How do you see that side of things going? Eugene, do you want to start that one?
Okay, so there's someone who asked me recently, like, if ever, like, after I'm done with my software engineering thing, if ever I want to be a dev, like, for a two, my response was no, because I enjoy the play. I enjoy being part of the player base, like being involved in all those things. And like was like, at the same time being involved in the gameplay, but also being involved like with the users and stuff.
Yeah.
I would say for the future, it would be nice to to be like a moderator, like within the 3D world, like phase 3 or phase 2.5, depends on which one they would need moderators for. But to continue being a moderator, even though like to be like on a more 3D space.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like I enjoy being both a player and also a moderator. I feel like me going about that would mean I have to push away certain privilege. Yeah, I have to push away certain privileges, like being a player, being involved in the gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's well said. Well put. What about yourself, Glasgow?
I plan not to. I thought about it because it's like, could I ever like get myself to the experience to be an employee?
Yeah.
And just that alone was my immediate answer of no, because they are really in the know-how of the current technology and how software works. And I can't even make a cylinder in Blender. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I wouldn't even attempt to even try to apply myself.
Oh, there's not just developer roles. There's certainly like other roles that could be like community management and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, because Diz and Liz, they're great at it.
Yeah.
They've shared in Gen Chat a few times of like what they kind of explained to everyone like what they kind of deal with from the community, and it's not bad, but it's a lot.
Yes.
And with how I am, I personally couldn't handle it. They do an amazing job at it. So I'd prefer to stay a volunteer moderator, honestly. I wouldn't want to try and step up and get a bigger role because the people that are currently taking care of the bigger role are just already amazing at it.
That's well put. I kind of like, even myself, I've had to message both Liz and Diz like quite a few times, and so I can't even imagine how many messages per day and stuff they're getting. It's probably a role that you can't really ever switch off from, even outside of office hours. Yeah, I get that. Right, guys, we have got 1 minute and 26 seconds left before this cuts off. And I know we wouldn't have time to start another one before Glasgow has to go. So is there anything that you guys want to briefly cover before we do say our goodbyes? But it would have to be very, very briefly.
I would like to add on what Glasgow mentioned in terms of, I feel like a lot of users, when they come in, they think you need like a lot of money to be involved in Earth 2. But like if you see like Sheep was doing a challenge like 0 to 1,000, like he really put money into Earth 2, but like he was using the builds, like basically the money, it circulates itself around. Just have to find a way to do it. It's not all about money, basically. Find a way to let the money generate itself in Earth 2.
There is free-to-play options there now, and there's more coming in the future. So, guys, you definitely don't need to spend any money. Right, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for both of you coming on. Honestly, it's been great. And I know for a fact I'll end up speaking to you in Gen Chat. So I'll see you soon. Do you want to do a quick goodbye before we get cut off? Eugene?
Okay. Bye, everyone. I will see you in Gen Chat.
Cheers, Glasgow. Right, guys, as always, thank you. Thanks for coming on. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and have an amazing day. Peace out, guys. Thanks again. Goodbye.